Good morning. Mobile has integrated into nearly every facet of our life. Most of us here today use a mobile device for banking, booking travel, trading stocks, and even dating. Although we may not be able to pull off suspenders like our guy Michael here. Our data and information is available at our fingertips at all times, and increasingly, our family and friends are adopting the use of technology to monitor their health. In fact, according to Insider Intelligence, 80% of consumers are willing to wear fitness technology. Mobile and wearable devices like Fitbits, Apple Watches, and even our cell phones are being used to track exercise, share fitness achievements with friends, and even monitor blood oxygen and heart rate levels. More than ever during this past year, healthcare has moved online, and many of us communicate with a healthcare provider like Kaiser via mobile app. And now, genetics are being used to predict potential health and diet conditions, as I learned personally after taking a 23andMe test as a result of this very project. But what is missing on this quest for a longer, healthier, happier life? It's food. What if grocery could bring together all of this data to create a shopping list personalized to your entire family's biodata needs? Now that could build on grocery's reputation as essential and give them a new way to compete. Today, grocery retail is losing to large tech-enabled players when competing on price and convenience. Well, we all know that this is not a new problem. It is still the problem in grocery, and the one we're hoping to set out and try to help solve today. If grocery retail continues to compete on these terms, we project that they will lose between 6 and 14% of their total market share by 2025. But what if grocery were to compete differently? Could grocery combine the consumer trust of healthcare providers and their grocery stores with the emerging uses of biodata, genetics, and technology to compete on different terms? Well, that's exactly what we're proposing today. We are proposing a solution, a potential solution that creates a sustainable competitive advantage for grocery retail by leveraging the different set of criteria before you. One that delivers a trusted, personalized, convenient solution that meets the future of grocery. My name is Patrick Smith, and I'm so excited today to introduce our team, Biodata Revolution. Comprised of Mary Freilich with Ray's Coca-Cola Bottling, Victoria Goy with Albertson Safeway, Shrees Gutierrez with King Supers, Ryan Ward with Bristol Farms, and Zach Wilson with Raley's. We're hoping to start a little grocery revolution of our own using the evolution of science and technology. First, we'll define what biodata is. Then we'll discuss how we can reimagine the healthcare, technology, and food ecosystem to deliver this new consumer experience. And finally, we'll wrap up with what this potentially could mean for our industry. Our ask is that you embrace this new personalized shopping concept that focuses on biodata personalization, that is built on trusting partnerships with the healthcare and technology industries, and that we believe will be the future of grocery in the next 3 to 5 years. So what is biodata?
Biodata is integration between biometrics and genetics, or DNA. Biodata is a new age of personalized technology. These days, we often open our phones with our fingerprints and faces, and we believe that this is just the start where biodata is going. While biodata technology is still quite new and has a number of challenges to overcome, it's a growing market, and some of its advantages are encouraging increased adoption. Healthcare providers are using biodata today to track your vitals and health diagnostic information. And we believe the next logical step for healthcare providers is to incorporate your genetics. So now that we know how the healthcare and technology industries are using biodata today, let's look how consumers engaging with biodata that is being collected. All these emerging biodata technologies are becoming available. Consumers tracking their steps, sleep, calorie intake, hydration level, and many more biodata trackers. However, the current ecosystem to access all of these trackers is inconvenient and difficult to navigate. Consumers are in need of a simple and convenient way of accessing their data, one that allows them to be in control of their health and offers them the ability to link the information together. Most consumers, including many of you, have access and use on a regular basis one or more of these apps, whether it's through their Fitbit, Apple Watch, healthcare provider, or grocery shopping through e-commerce. However, This ecosystem is not convenient. It requires the consumers to go to each of these apps, and it is confusing and difficult. There is not a single application that exists today that ties the biodata collecting apps to the healthcare and to the grocery industries. So how do we envision creating a new ecosystem that brings convenience to capturing and utilizing biodata and food purchases that impacts the diets of consumers?
It is our recommendation to reshape the ecosystem to form a funnel that allows the grocery industry to be the essential air traffic controller between the consumer, healthcare, and technology industries. However, this would put the ownership of the data trust on the grocery industry. Trust in the grocery industry is at an all-time high due to the way that our industry took care of our consumers through the COVID-19 pandemic, and we need to continue to build on this trust. Once the funnel is established, it will create an ecosystem that allows the customer to depend on the grocery industry to funnel their biodata back to the applications that are being used, and allows the healthcare and technology companies to send information back to the consumer all through one application. This will also allow the grocery industry to have access to the consumer's biodata, which will allow the retailer to create a more personalized omni-channel shopping experience. But the grocery industry cannot build this funnel alone. To start, we need to create trusted partnerships between the healthcare, technology, and food industries.
Partnership is an integral piece to building this funnel. And if you look at the ecosystem today, you will see that many of these companies are already partnering to better serve their consumers' needs. The healthcare industry is looking for ways to tap into new innovations that will allow them to improve the cost and the quality while gaining market share. According to a Business Insider report, 41% of consumers say they'd switch to a healthcare provider that offered a better digital experience. Perhaps this is why healthcare companies like Aetna are collaborating with Apple to allow their members the ability to integrate their health history and their activity to build a highly personalized experience. And as more tech companies recognize their role within the ecosystem, they stand to gain larger reach with their consumers. Tech companies ultimately become indispensable to both the consumer and industry players. We are already beginning to see industry intersection. It's important for the grocery industry to begin leveraging these partnerships and become the catalyst to an entirely new customer experience. Grocery holds the missing piece to this equation, and that missing piece is food. So what does this new customer experience look like? Well, a consumer can opt in via a retailer app that will then be connected to their loyalty data. From there, the consumer has access to their biodata and genetic information that will give them personalized food recommendations. The consumer can link their personal wearable device, which will allow them to integrate things such as step count and exercise. This accumulation of data would create a more holistic picture of the consumer's lifestyle habits and allow members across the ecosystem a personalized approach to this customer. So to give you some insights on how this looks in action, we are going to follow Jessica and her family as they start the process. Here, in this first step, the family gives over their genetic information to their healthcare provider. This may be in the form of a blood sample or a cheek swab. Their provider uploads their data to the retailer's platform, where Jessica and her family now have access to their personalized health report. Maybe one of Jessica's children is at risk for diabetes. This information will allow the retailer to make suggestions that will aid her in making better food choices for both her and her family. The retailer can see Jessica shops in-store and online. They know she's busy, so the retailer can now prepare her shopping list and have it ready for pickup at a moment's notice. Or she can have it shipped directly to her home. What's important to note is that the CPGs have the ability to make targeted suggestions to Jessica and her family. We know that everyone needs a permissible indulgence every now and then. Once she leaves the store, Jessica can then work with her healthcare provider to set goals based on her family's food choices and activity levels. The family's wearable device will allow Jessica to monitor the entire family's results and track their progress. All the while, her family's data will be continuously compiled and funneled back to offer real-time insights into her family's health and shopping needs. Now, we want to show you how one company in the UK is already taking steps to shape the consumer shopping experience through biodata utilization.
DNA tests are exploding in popularity as people try to learn more about their ancestry. But now researchers in the UK say your biology can also tell you the best foods to eat for your body. People are lining up for cheek swabs at this shop in central London called DNA Nudge.
So we're effectively using your biology to nudge you to make healthier choices within what you eat.
Unlike other DNA tests, there's no lab here, just a small machine that scans DNA for health conditions like diabetes, hypertension, and obesity. DNA is analyzed in about an hour and given to customers in a Fitbit-style wristband, synced to an app.
So it's not just based upon your DNA, it's also based upon your lifestyle.
With a simple scan of the barcode, the wristband turns green when a food is right for you. Red means try something else. But the app won't just tell you to put down the cookie, it guides you to a healthier one.
If you want to buy a biscuit, then let us find a better biscuit for you and your biology.
Families like the Crown Spencers have joined a clinical trial at Imperial College London.
It's too much salt.
To see how much of an impact these small changes can have on people predisposed to type 2 diabetes.
I love the fact that when I go shopping, I can make sure that I'm making the right choices for all three of us.
Researchers hope the trial will prove that using your own biology really is the key to a healthier lifestyle.
Interesting idea, don't you think? Well, we think this type of personalized technology will benefit all consumers. Based on current trends, we believe that the millennials and the Gen Zs will be the earlier adopters of this technology. In fact, millennials have already overtaken Gen X as the largest shopping group. And if we project out 5 to 10 years, these two groups, millennials and Gen Zs, will make up more than 55% of that shopping pie. So knowing how powerful this group of shoppers is, let's take a look at some of their preferences in health and technology. Millennials are the most health-conscious consumer group, and Gen Zs are looking for convenience and natural and organic. And what does that mean for you? These high health consumers spend 1.6 times more in your stores than your average shopper. And we know how important technology is in their lives as well. In fact, 96% of Gen Zs and millennials currently own a smartphone. And wearable tech, like your Fitbit or your Apple Watch, spending in wearable tech has more than doubled in the past 3 years. And if we take a look at the intersection of health and technology and think about DNA tests like your Ancestry.com or 23andMe, the demand for those tests has been growing as well because of these high health consumers. And what that tells us is that these consumers are willing to share their personal information to get something valuable back in return. So knowing how important and fundamental health and technology is to these consumers, we believe this is where we as the grocery industry need to be focused going forward. Well, let's look at the impact of personal technology on our industry. And we're going to start with benefits to the CPG companies. As you'll remember, we heard Zach talk about data sharing in the funnel with the partners. CPG companies are going to have the opportunity and the data on their shoppers more than they ever have before. And this data is going to enable us to have opportunities to optimize trade spend, increase product insights, and improve brand loyalty. Arguably, the most critical of these is increasing that trade spend efficiency, which is especially important when you consider that CPG companies spend more than $200 billion in trade spend every year in the United States. In one study we found, one food CPG player was able to increase their sales per media dollar spend by 13% using personalized, targeted marketing to drive sales. Now, granted, this is just one example, but we believe that this is where the future is going in this data-driven marketing. So now let's take a look at the benefits for the retailers.
So utilizing a platform like this can offer several benefits to retailers. The first of which being able to upsell and to cross-sell health-centric items directly to the consumers looking for them. Not only being able to do this, these high health items also carry a higher margin, which positively impacts the profits of the retailer. Having a program that locks customers in, like a loyalty type program, will allow retailers to keep customers locked into their system and keep them coming back. This will also add a level of differentiation from other retailers and from the big tech players that we had outlined in the beginning. It's been shown that high health customers spend more, visit more, and buy more than the average customer. Now let's take a look at what that means in the total industry. So looking ahead 5 years, we forecast the industry being worth about $675 billion. As Patrick had mentioned earlier, we are forecasting that the market share loss just due to shift in consumer behavior to be about 14% of that. With a program like this, we're forecasting that retailers would be able to hold on to that 14% and not lose it to online platforms or other retailers. So what does that equate out to? Well, that's worth about $95 billion worth of business in this industry.
So let's review. We've identified the problem of where we are failing to compete today and provided a new way to compete, leveraging biodata personalization. The current ecosystem is disjointed for the consumer, and the new ecosystem can be built through the creation of a funnel built on trust and partnerships. Because we know we can't do this alone, and we must form partnerships with the healthcare technology industries in a way that places the grocer as the essential piece between them and the consumer. This personalized digital shopping experience can be layered into your existing e-commerce solution and will meet the biodata needs of your consumers' families. But this solution not only benefits the consumer, it also has key benefits for the CPG, grocery, healthcare, and technology industries. Through our research, we know that larger global companies are already exploring this type of solution. Amazon and Alibaba are working on a version of this in Asia right now, and they believe it could be market ready by 2026. However, we believe the grocery industry can have a first mover advantage, but the time to act is now. This leads us to our ask. Our ask is for you to embrace this new personalized shopping concept that focuses on biodata personalization, that is built on the trusting partnerships with the healthcare and technology industries that we believe will be the future of grocery shopping within the next 3 to 5 years. We recognize that the grocery, technology, and healthcare industries are not quite ready to implement this technology. However, it is imperative that we start building the foundation so that when the technology and healthcare industries are ready, it is a seamless integration. Now let's talk about the next steps to get us ready. First step, assess current technological capabilities. Go back and review where you're at with your existing e-commerce and loyalty applications. Identify where you have gaps. Second step, explore potential healthcare and technology partnerships. If you have existing partnerships with each, discuss if they are working on this already. If you do not have partnerships, start the conversations with the Kaisers, the Aetnas, the Blue Shields of the healthcare industries. For technology, be fearless and seek partnerships with Apple, Google, or others who have the capability of providing a biodata capturing technology and potentially the ability to integrate into your existing platforms. Step 3, determine the needed resources. This is an investment in the future, and it will take a collaborative effort to get there. It's going to take time. Step 4, design the consumer experience. Design that experience that will allow Jessica and her family to have the user experience that she needs to bring together an omni-channel shopping experience. Now let's bring this to a close. The grocery industry has an opportunity to be first movers in this unique and personalized shopping experience that will create a sustainable competitive advantage for years to come. It is time to start the revolution. the biodata revolution, to protect our market share, provide an experience that differentiates from our competitors, and deepens the trust in the grocery industry. Ultimately, because we know that the future of health is still food, and the future of food is still grocery. Thank you. Should you have any questions or would like to discuss any further, please let us know by sending us an email.